Okay, I got 3 quick points and 3 more points and maybe the homily. First of all, the tomb was pushed away, that the rock in front of the tomb. I don't think it was pushed away, my own opinion. I think it was blown out by the power of the resurrection. Because nothing can stand in the light of God's holy power. The best we can probably come up with is nuclear. And we see those horrible images on TV when a nuclear bomb happens. When Christ rose from the dead, that rock had no chance. It just bursted asunder into trillions of pieces. Trillions of pieces all over the place because of his divine, awesome, almighty power, which I want more of. Point number 2, when they looked and they saw the burial cloths, notice the amount of detail they go into in separating the head cloth from the body cloth, because that cloth could very well be the Shroud of Turin. They've never discredited that. The church never said that was the burial cloth of Jesus. Might as well be. All the marks line up. The face lines up. The height of what they said he was lined up. Another second great point. Number 3. Certainly target audience are those who come to Mass more often. But someone said, what about us who do come to Mass more often? Well, here's point 3. They saw and they believed. Irrespective of who gets up there and gives the shtick, the spiel, the homily, the sermon. If you don't want to believe, no amount of yakking for me is going to change you. So, at this point, I would just ask for an open mind. If you're already going, you're going. You got this. I ain't giving this up. I ain't giving this up. Father, $1 million? $10 million? $1 billion? And you look as good as you do right now the rest of your life. Thank you. The ones who aren't laughing, I already got to them. They're like, that righteous man. That was funny. That was meant to be a joke. No, I would. What price can a man, meaning a human being, a woman, man, child, what price can you pay for your soul? What price can you pay for your soul? Look, as I get older in the spiritual life, I'm realizing the devil, the world, the flesh, my own desires, keep drawing passion out of me. And it's very fleeting. It's depleted. It diminishes me. I would love, first and foremost, for God to be the source of where all my passion is drawn towards. I cannot say that today. Father, would the entire world be better if I started tomorrow to draw more passion out of my heart for God? I'll jump right to Florida with the poor kid who did that horrible tragedy. You think someone could have got to that kid? You think someone who knew could have... I don't know. I'm just saying, would the world be a better place? Statistically, would there be less violence? Would there be less hatred? Would there be less unforgiveness if I drew more passion out of my soul for God? Yes. I was at the Starbucks Club yesterday. We have a coffee club. You should watch yourselves text. It's insane. It's insane. Kids are walking into cars. It's insane. The machine does not look up. The machine does not satisfy. Hey, I'm pretty happy with the old TV. I like Pong. Didn't satisfy. Some people still go back to Pac-Man. They got all this new stuff. They're going back to Pac-Man. I bet some of you go back to your flippers after a while. I think I'm going to predict that today, because this homily is being recorded, so when I die one day, they'll go back to the video and say, that priest was a genius. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Thank you. Now, those are regulars. That laugh was from regulars. People who come here all the time, that was their laugh. You're like, whoa. No, I'm going to predict this. 5, 10, I don't know when, and maybe you'll be the first one. You're going to say, enough, this is way too distracting. Even when I don't use it. Hey, this is True Confessions. I'm an honest man, True Confessions. So I think I have some important friends. Okay? My flip phone, I guard that number with my life. We were in Rome on one of the trips, and the guy got up and says, we're going to give you Father Jerome's cell phone number. No. Well, it was another phone. It wasn't the cell phone. But I used to leave it on at night. The cops, someone could have died. The police could have called me to go to someone's home, the state's attorney. I'm a pretty connected guy. 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks. No, sorry, you got to bust into my house or call the rectory number. But that number now, it's okay. It's okay. If it's an emergency, you'll find me in my house. You'll come ring my doorbell. The police have resources. I'm sure the state's attorney's office has resources. They'll come get me out of my bed. It's a huge distraction. God's greatest enemy. Pope John Paul II has said this. I'm so comforted right now. I'll be soon going into 20 years of being a priest. I'm not on today to give you faith in Jesus Christ. That's not my responsibility today. I can't do it. Monsignor and I had a beautiful conversation before Mass. I said, Monsignor, I had a beautiful prayer hour this morning. And the Lord, I did not see the Lord. I did not hear a voice in my head. If I told you that, well, we didn't hear any voices. We didn't see anybody, okay? It's just me and my coffee and Jesus. And Jesus said, Jerome, it's not the 2-minute warning and you're the quarterback. And I got to throw a touchdown pass that some of you people wandering off the street got to catch, so I get the touchdown. I'm the literal Hail Mary. Stop that. If you want to keep living the way you're living, you're going to keep living the way you're living. If you think that's the most satisfying way of life, call me. I challenge you. How many countries have you been to? How many advanced degrees do you have? How exciting and passionate is your life? Do you find great contentment in meaningless chatter on one's machine? The answer is yes, we do, Father. And there's others of you who might not do the machine. The meaning of life for some of us is acquisition and assessing more and grabbing more things and having more Facebook likes. It's insane to me. This is Facebook. This is the source of our happiness. This is the source of the goodness of our life. So let's go back to let's start the homily, okay? Can we start now? That was all for my own personal edification. Just got to get warmed up. Hi, Jeff. Nice to see you. We just got warmed up. So here we go. Place, event, and response. If nothing else, it's good that you're here. I've never seen it so empty. I think I don't think I know. It is extraordinarily characteristic of what's called the nones, the non-affiliated people that keep growing up in our country. They're not affiliated with a community of religious belief. They do it on their own. And they sit home alone on their machine with all these virtual friends. So first and foremost, it's good that you're here. It's good to come to Mass. Hey, if your mom got a smile on her face because you showed up for Mass today, give me a break. You could do worse things for your mother. That's why a lot of people show up for Mass. Maybe it's the father. You know, this is a sad story, but throughout the year, those who go to Mass all the time, a lot don't go with their spouses. A lot of spouses dig in. I'm not going. I get the kids' part. Tell you what I'd like to, I don't want to get into the Twitter, go into the gutter language. I'd like to say a few choice words to the husbands who don't go with their wives to church. You can't go to church with your wife for an hour? After all she does, she raised your kids. We're going to worship Satan in here? Do it. If the lowest motive you can arrive at is my mother wants me to go, I'll take it. Hey, I'm afraid of going to hell. So am I. I'll take it. Of course, the most extraordinary is, well, before the most extraordinary, it's good that you're here. It's good that your family's here. It's good that some of you decided to get dressed up. It's good to be in community. Hey, what's the I don't want to go back to Florida, Parkland. No community. No friendships. No small groups. No sense of belonging. Of all the ways our children fail to belong, the first and foremost one, which has been so abandoned, it's pitiful. I belong to God. I'll never be alone. I'll never be alone. In my suffering, God is with me in my sufferings. In my hardship, God is with me in my hardships. In my fear, God comes to conquer my fears. Father, we haven't been around in a while. This sounds like the antidote to pretty much everything. Yeah, it is. It's awesome to be in vertical right relationship with God our Father in the name and blood of His Son, Jesus Christ. It's totally awesome. It's also great to be in union with the whole church. There are Christians who worship not the way we do. They are Christians who worship not the way we do in this town. The whole town. The 36,000 people in Crystal Lake, way more than 2/3 are Christian. I don't know how many are showing up for services today. But the community of Crystal Lake worships today. Jesus Christ, the risen Lord. How about the Universal Church, the Pope, and all those in Africa and Asia and India? There's almost, I don't know how many, there's 1.2 billion Catholics. Of that number, only 300 million go to church. So the largest real religious group on the earth is fall-away Catholics. And it's unfortunate. I spend most of my time in the coffee shop with fall-away Catholics, correcting misunderstandings. Not really edifying them. I try to encourage people. But as I said when I began, if you don't want to believe, You'll do a good job. I got to give you another this is a bad prophecy. You'll succeed at it. If you want to do what you're doing now, and just acquiring things, doing the Facebook-like thing, and then it's all about me, because it's not the Trinity, it's the Trinity, okay? I suspect you'll be successful. And if that's your level of contentment, wow. So it's good to be here. It's good to be here in union with the whole universal church, to pray, to worship, to sacrifice holy. Why are we here? Well, I got to tell a short story before I get to the exact reason why you're here today. 17 hours, no, not today's Sunday. Holy Thursday began Thursday, 17 hours before he died. He gave extraordinarily explicit and specific instructions as he wanted his last will and testament carried out. No, I am not a lawyer. But don't make no bones about this. That was his last will and testament. You want to hear what he said right before he died? I'll tell you exactly what he said right before he died. Not the moment of his death. Those are words from the cross. When he was gathered in an assembly of believers, much like you. And I'll bet you, I don't want to bet, but if someone took DNA, who knows? Maybe one of us is lined up with one of those apostles. I know I am by ordination to the priesthood. Tell that to Willow. I got a badge. Hey, if a policeman pulls you over in Crystal Lake and he ain't got a Crystal Lake badge, he ain't got a Crystal Lake siren, or he ain't got it might not be a policeman. People scam all kinds of different occupations. I got a badge. It said somebody ordained me, who was ordained by somebody, who was ordained by one of the apostles. That's a historic fact. So 17 hours before he died, he told us what we wanted to do. Guys, get together. When you get together, as often as you get together, like the Passover, but differently, take bread, take wine, turn the bread into my body, turn the wine into my blood. It is my covenant. It is the new and everlasting covenant. There won't be another covenant. And I want you to what? Do this. Folks, again, if I just get a little opening, just give me a little opening. It's emphatic. It's demonstrative. It's a declaration. It's not like we're wondering what he meant. It's in Matthew. It's in Mark. It's in Luke. It's in John. It's in Paul. It's in the book of Revelation. What do I got to do? If I could juggle and stand, I used to walk on my hands. When I was the whole basketball court, I could walk on my hands. There's videos of it. Oh yeah, I had an exciting life. I used to dunk a basketball too. Sorry about the Ramblers. Only kind of sorry. I went to DePaul Graduate School. So, we're here because after this Last Supper, this commemorative memorial perpetual feast, that's what the Jews thought it was. That's what the Jews said it is. And that's what the Catholic Christians say it is. And we're not budging. We're not budging on this. You could keep Facebooking. Look, the likelihood of one of you calling me in a week and saying, hey, that homily changed my life. I'm back in church. You're totally right. Your history checks out. The facts are true. I'm back. I'm all in. It's very unlikely. The much greater percentage is that we're going to keep doing what we kept doing. The problem is, after the meal he gave us, he was tortured horribly, horribly tortured. Like no one's ever been tortured. Not waterboarding. It wasn't waterboarding. He got tortured bad. And I've always claimed to the mothers in the crowd, the worst offense was not just the physical pain he endured, the spiritual pain. It was his mother watching him. Because I was in a hospital as a kid, and I can still remember my mother's eyes, welling up with tears, not afraid to cry in front of me, because the news wasn't always good coming in. I saw what a mother's love looks like in her eyes. I can't imagine the extent to which Mary suffered out of love for us, and of love for her son. So after this horrible and miserable death, they put him in a tomb. They wrapped him in that burial cloth you read about. And then you also read that 40 hours later, that rock was burst asunder, and he came out. He's alive. So, let's wrap this up. Your favorite words in a homily. What are you most afraid? If you're honest. And oh, by the way, if you're visiting, people who come here regularly know this. When I say, if you're being honest, I don't assume you're being honest. I've been around too long. Too many confessions. I run around with the FBI too much, I guess. When I say to you, hey, be honest about it, I don't assume you're going to be honest about it. I assume the prejudices, the biases, the past way of thinking are going to influence even this space, even this arena, even this area. So here, try to be honest about this. What's the worst fear in my life? Right now, my mother passing or me dying. We're being recorded, and my brothers will watch this later. Not their death. I'll be sad, but I'll have composure. My mother, that would be rough. Monsignor's warned me about that. He says, yeah, she's suffering and she's sick, but when she died, it's going to be a whole different, it's going to crush you. I'm a total mama's boy. Oh, back to wanting to straighten out the men who don't want to go to church with their wives. Send me your kids to talk back to your mothers too, your wives. I'll talk to them too. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. What people. Anyway, what's the point? The point is, my greatest fear in life, Jesus walked into my greatest fear in life. He walked into the death of ours collectively. I don't want to say my own language, spit it in the face, kicked it in the nose, punched it down. He defeated death. I don't have to be afraid of my greatest fear. I don't have to anymore. I could choose to be. I don't have to be afraid of death. Not like a city kid on the west side or the south side who literally right now walking around, maybe right now, is not afraid of death. That's psychotic, not afraid of death. Being afraid of death is a normal, natural instinct, human preservation. I don't have to be afraid anymore. Jesus Christ rose from the dead, and he offers for me a solution to my problems, a pathway to life everlasting. I guess the last point is our response. And I'm happy I'm not the quarterback today. Now, 18 years of this, folks. Again, I don't expect your sympathy in it. I put it on myself. But today's a big day for us because we don't meet that often. And I gotta wax the homily. I gotta polish the homily. I gotta think, well, what if I offend somebody? The coffee club has taught me so much. Just talking professionally, politics, economics, sports. Because if you want to be offended, you're going to be offended. Just make sure you understand this, young people, middle-aged, because a lot of middle-aged people are getting like millennials as well. I don't even know why they call them millennials. If you're on computer and doing that stuff out of business for more than 6-7 hours a day, you might as well call yourself a millennial. You're a tech. I can't say geek. That's almost a compliment. Because the geeks are running the world. At least the kids I went to high school with, they're kind of running the world. Anyway, what's your response? What's your response to all this? I hope your response is, I will give this some further consideration. I know I'm going to die. The arc of my life is coming. Either I'm going up to the top or I'm on the other side coming down. I would like to have some life insurance. I would like some eternal life insurance. I would like the merits that go with the victory of Christ's cross. I would like the satisfaction and pleasure, deep spiritual pleasure from knowing Christ's resurrection. I hope your response would be ever more open-heartedness. I would hope your response would be ever greater lovingness. I would hope your response would be, I want to forgive my wife, my kids, my husband. I hope your response would be, I want to be more of Christ's light into the world, into the little corner that I occupy, so that maybe someone else can get some sun, some rays. Let me just close with this. It's a total honor for me to be in this position, to be at this pulpit, more importantly, to be a priest, to be in this parish, and to have the life that I have. But when I was a kid and I thought about owning a car, back then we didn't have the Mercedes, at least where I grew up. It was going to be a Cadillac or a Lincoln. When I was a kid, I wanted a Cadillac or a Lincoln, and maybe a Corvette as well. Those were the hot cars back then. And I wound up turning some of that down because I don't want to drive a Mercedes even if I could, because it just doesn't look good because people are unemployed. I get the obvious disconnect of people being unemployed and me having a nice car. But I ask you right now, not cars, what kind of prayer life do you want in 5 years? You want a Cadillac prayer life, or you want a Pinto prayer life? You want a Lincoln Continental spirituality, or you want a Hugo or Pacer spirituality? You're going to decide, but I will tell you from the bottom of my heart, me to you, mano y mano, mano y mujer, never a more important choice you're going to make. How am I going to respond to God's love, His invitation, and His resurrection from the dead? I would hope we would respond to clinging more tightly to Him. So, instead, there's no greater, here's the last lines, I wrote them down for you. There's no greater tragedy. This is what the Lord told me this morning in chapel. There's no greater tragedy than a man missing being converted. There's no greater tragedy than we miss our conversion. We just say no to it. For all those who don't want a wall, boy, did you put one up spiritually. I don't want it. I got a wall here. I'm on this side. Religious people, you stay on that side. We'll be nice to you. We won't mock you too much in coffee shops, but you stay on your side of the wall. We'll stay on our side of the wall. Okay, on that side of the wall. Instead, I'd rather us to have the response that we share an overwhelming sense of gratitude for my life, for this moment, and for the invitation to life everlasting. That's what we came here to celebrate, the resurrection. The eternity Jesus Christ won for us by coming out of the grave.